Yeah, we jumped into working on ourselves yesterday and got back to work for an off week. We had a good practice yesterday, got a lot of reps for our 2s and 3s, and today we'll get a lot of reps for everybody. That's a work day, and work the rest of the week towards starting on our next opponent later in the week.
Questions, just raise your hand, we'll get going.
Coach, you talked about having some different concepts in the running game. Is that something where Coach Rouse or Coach Lilly kind of helped you guys a little bit as they go through time in the NFL?
Well, some of the looks were just copycat looks that other people have done that we admire. It's what everybody does offensively and defensively, is plagiarize from somebody else and take other ideas. And came from Coach Bobo and Coach Searle's background, as well as Coach Lilly and Phil's. So a lot of different areas pulled from for those.
Yeah, Kirby, for some of the young guys you've had to play on the offensive line, like Juan, like Dontrell, even like Uni, how much can a bye week in the season, when they've got some game tape to look at, help them as they continue to develop in their careers?
Well, any work helps them. Growth walkthroughs help them. Meetings help them. I mean, they're just the ceiling is they're so far from their ceiling because they haven't had the same amount of work. But we also have to be healthy, which makes it hard because you're balancing health and reps and trying to get guys back healthy.
Coach, Tennessee came out running tempo and they ran it for a lot of the game. Was that something you were like wanting to quickly adjust to, or were you comfortable letting that play out since you talked a lot about being the better conditioned team?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Tennessee's a tempo team. They go fast all the time. So, I mean, I don't know if you're asking were we prepared for it. I certainly thought we were. It didn't look like it, but we practiced it really hard, and it didn't come to fruition. Like the practice plan and the things we practiced didn't play real well, and they did a better job than us.
We saw Dwight go out, I think that was in the third quarter, and not come back. Just how is he doing?
He seems fine. He did some work yesterday. He's got a midfoot that's bothering him some, but he didn't hold him back for much yesterday.
Yeah, Juan was able to return to action. What did you see out of him in that game against Tennessee? And could he maybe help you guys at right tackle at all?
Well, Juan is trying to get healthy. He came in. Donnie got a little banged up, and he came in and helped Donnie out there for a period of time. And then he had another ankle that was bothering him, and he came out, and they just kept going back and forth. But you know, he's not completely all the way healed and trying to get well. So we're just trying to get all those guys back so they can get better.
Maybe part of what you're answering me when I'm asking about the right tackle spot and what the challenges are right now. I know often Ernest is not 100% either. And how much will this extra time, maybe help y'all kind of get that squared away?
Yeah, I don't know. With Ernest, that we took some time there in the Austin Peay to try to get him better and do some things with him rehab wise and try to get him back. He certainly was not 100% and tried to go out there and go and give us all he could. And I think his endurance and the stamina part was hard in that kind of game to go out there and just jump back in and play. And then, we'll continue to work on it and try to figure out what the best lineup is for everybody.
We talked a little bit about it after the game, but since you've had time to go back and watch the tape, just how would you evaluate how your secondary on the whole played on Saturday and the good and the bad?
Yeah, both. I think you said it. There was some good and there was some bad. There was probably more bad than good, obviously, but they're not things that aren't correctable. There's some eye control things. We've played Tennessee with the motto of, we're not going to give up explosives and get the ball thrown over our head, and we played well. And then when you get the ball thrown over your head and give up explosives, you don't play well. It pretty much comes down to that. There's 35, 40 plays in the game. There's 35, 40 plays in a window of a game where we were in control of the game defensively, but it didn't start that way, and it wasn't that way late when we gave up the explosives. So there's good and bad. But I mean, all those DBs they've all made that play before, but they didn't make it when we had to make it.
You guys have used a lot of wide receivers, getting contributions from several guys. with Noah Thomas, how is he fitting into what you're doing? So far, I know he didn't have too many catches, but what are you seeing from his play?
Yeah, he's a guy that's been really good for us in terms of winning one-on-ones, practicing really hard, team concept, knowing that it was important to him that he started on special teams, so he has really competed on punt block and PBR to help our team, and I think it's going to help him in his future in terms of being able to be a special teams player. He's made plays for us in practice. He's done great. It's really been unfortunate because there's been some times that his shot or his number was called and we didn't necessarily protect it well, or something happened, or something came in the way. But he has not been fazed by it. At least he's not shown it to us. He works hard. He buys into the team morale and concept. And in this world of football, you never know when your number's going to be called. I mean, London's probably never caught a ball on that route in his entire career, and that was the first time we've thrown it to that route. So you just don't know when it's going to happen. And I think Noah will continue to work to get better for our team.
Yeah, when cornerbacks and safeties, defensive backs, I guess, are in one-on-one coverage, are there drills, techniques you guys can work with them on to help them improve in that situation, or is it just sort of an instinctual kind of thing where some guys are just better at that necessarily than others?
No, there's certainly drills, and we work on those year-round. I mean, it's not like we go, oh gosh, we got a problem, let's fix it. That's a daily must. I mean, one of the 3 characteristics of defensive backs that you must have is play the ball in the deep part of the field. And it's a critical factor, and it can be improved. Some people are inherently better than others at it, and we try to put them in those situations every day. I mean, you can't do that enough to simulate it.
Yeah, as you've watched the film from these first 3 games, what have been your impressions of the outside linebacker group in terms of rushing the quarterback, getting after the passing?
Yeah, they've done everything we've asked them to do. They hadn't been in a lot of the games when we've had leads. We've subbed out a lot of guys, and they've done a tremendous job of that. The Tennessee game was certainly a very different game because their offense creates a style of play of run. We didn't get a lot of third downs. We didn't get when we got people to third down. We usually get off the field, but we didn't get them to third down a lot. So that group has worked really hard. They've closed and played our edges better. Gabe and Q particularly have played the edge game much better than we have in the past, and I'm excited to see what opportunities they get in the future.
Coach, obviously, you guys ran 90 plays on offense. I'm not sure how much on defense, but I know it was a lot. How do you approach this bye week, knowing those guys just played, that type of game in that atmosphere, for that amount of snaps?
Yeah, that was an approach yesterday. Certainly, there's very few guys that played 95 snaps. We didn't have many offensive players that played 95 snaps. We had a few, but defensively, we platoon, and nobody had a large amount. And the guys that had a large volume, we cut back their volume, and that's the way we try to look at it from a GPS standpoint of getting recovery, getting their legs back underneath them. But at the same time, we have to train to get better. And there's a lot of things we can get better at, and that's our target area for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, what have you made out of how Michael Morris has played on the left side of that offensive line, specifically what he did on Nate Frazier's run in overtime, where it looked like he kicked out and helped really spring that block? Yeah,
that's one of the best things Micah does. He's a good puller. He's powerful. He's done it a lot. From a conditioning standpoint, he was a guy that played 95 snaps. I told him I was proud of him for that. I'd like for him to play with more effort and cover down and more strain for longer, like some of our other linemen are able to do. But he has done a great job of getting his weight down. He's been a rock for us and understands leverage, protections. He's experienced. The biggest thing he can do is help those younger guys grow and get better with how he works. Like, what's his work ethic? What kind of example does he set for them? And what kind of attitude does he have to daily work to improve those young guys? And that's a big ask of Micah for us.
Yeah, what have you seen from Chris Cole early in the season? He's gotten more comfortable kind of rushing off the edge. I think it was him that had the sack between the intentional grounding on Saturday. Just what have been your impressions of him so far this year?
He's been great. He's taken on 3 roles. He takes on a role as a sub pass rusher, a normal down inside backer, and a normal down regular personnel linebacker, and that's three pretty different, very distinct roles that he takes on, and we have to find ways to keep utilizing Chris's strengths. He has strengths that we have to utilize, and he's a good playmaker. So I'm proud of the way he's practicing and playing.
Got a question, after the game, coach, everybody was asking about, players asking about Gunner, a couple of them wanted to describe him as he's a dog, he's that kind of guy. You got, obviously you want your reporter to kind of be that kind of player, but would the players have that kind of a, obviously respect for the guy who's pulled the trigger? What's the effect, impact that can have moving forward with the offense?
Well, I think it brings, you want to play hard for players that make sacrifices and that you like. I mean, ultimately, when you like someone, you love someone, you endear yourself to someone, you play harder for them. And the players love Gunner. They want to play hard for him. He doesn't complain. He doesn't point fingers. He doesn't lay blame. He takes hits on the chin and takes some pretty vicious ones. And he gets up, he goes on to play the next play, and I think there's a lot of respect and that humility that the other players on offense and really the whole team have for Gunner.
Peyton picked up Special Teams Player of the Week yesterday. Just what does that do for you as a coach to have a kicker with that kind of consistency and just what he brings whenever you put him out there?
Yeah, it's tremendous confidence, number one, in him, because he's been there, done that. He's been in some really tough environments. Don't think he's affected or swayed by emotions, but I think he'd be the first to give a lot of credit to Bo and the guys that he's involved with in terms of snapper, holder, kicker. It's a three-part deal that he gets credit for, but I think those guys with him are very elite as well.
Yeah, with the way your guys' schedule worked out this year, you guys traveled the fewest miles in the SEC. What are some of the benefits of, after a road game, having a shorter trip back and being able to get back to Athens quickly and sort of move on to that next game?
I think the recovery is not much difference. I think it's a lot more about when you play than where you play. The night game, getting back, has a much more impact getting back at 2-3 a.m. than how far you travel. I don't think that plays a significance. I think it's more significant night versus day.
Any more for Coach? Got one more? Wyman?
Will you guys do opponents the next stretch before your next bye week in terms of prep, or will it just be Alabama when you turn to the next game? But do you do Kentucky, Auburn, Ole Miss, a little bit of what they're doing?
Yeah, our off-week strategy has always been to look at opponents furthest away first and back into the team that's most recent. So we work on everybody that we would play before the next bye week. In terms of coaches, we may not work on it with players. We don't have enough time. We work on ourselves on the field, and the coaches work on every team we have upcoming.
Thanks, Coach.